All right, for this explainer, we're heading back in time to a London pub in the 1970s. And we've got a story for you that is just almost unbelievable. It's got everything: chaos, real courage, and, believe it or not, the surprising decency of a drunken mob.
So, to really get what went down that night, you've got to understand the setup first. This was, well, it was anything but your typical Saturday night out at the pub.
See, our narrator was part of the Unification Church, which was a pretty new religious movement back then. And their main way of fundraising? Something they called the pub run. It was exactly what it sounds like. They'd go from pub to pub, selling little things like potted plants directly to the folks having a drink. Just picture this for a second. You walk into a packed, loud pub, but you're not there for a pint. Nope, you're carrying a whole tray of potted plants trying to sell them. I mean, talk about a grind, right? It took some serious nerve. And, most of the time, people were actually kind of curious, even friendly about it. But this night, this night was different. Because on this one night near the legendary Wembley Stadium, that whole routine, that friendly vibe, it just completely shattered. So our narrator walks into this pub and the atmosphere is just electric. But not in a good way. It was totally packed with post-game football fans. The air was thick with smoke and the smell of stale beer. You know the vibe. It was the kind of place where you just knew things could go sideways in a heartbeat. And, well, they did. And just like that, everything changes. Some young guy, completely on purpose, sticks his leg out and trips our narrator. The tray just goes flying, and suddenly the floor is a mess of dirt, shattered pots, and crushed plants. But here's the kicker. The first reaction from the crowd? It's not, "Oh no, are you okay?" It's a massive, roaring laugh. And let's be crystal clear about this. This was no accident. It was a deliberate act of cruelty, totally intentional. It was a show put on for the entertainment of this rowdy crowd. And man, did it work. And this is just how fast a mob mentality can take over, isn't it? A few of the guys, they don't just laugh, they get in on the action. They start kicking the broken pottery around like they're still on the football pitch, turning this whole mess into a game. And the rest of the pub? They're cheering them on. So imagine being on the floor, right in the middle of all this mess and mockery. You can't do anything but watch. And at this point, it's not even about the money you've lost. It's about your own safety. You're completely at the mercy of this crowd that is literally enjoying watching you be humiliated. But right here, at the absolute lowest point, when things couldn't possibly seem worse, the entire dynamic of the room is about to pivot on a single voice. I mean, what do you even do in that situation? The humiliation is total. You'd think the only option is to just get out of there, right? But then, something happens. From all that noise, one voice just slices right through it. And it's not the bouncer, it's not the bar manager, it's a young woman, someone in the crowd just like them. She gets up and just lays into the hooligans. Pure, righteous anger. She calls them out, shames them right there in front of everybody. And wow, her words land harder than any punch could have. The effect is instant, absolute. The laughing just stops. The kicking stops. The whole pub falls silent. It's like her appeal to their better nature just popped the balloon of that mob mentality. And what happens next? The ripple effect from that one person speaking up is just incredible. The story doesn't end with silence. Oh no, it takes a turn you would never expect. The mood in that room just does a complete 180. The same guys who were kicking the pots around like footballs a minute ago, now they're awkwardly, sheepishly bending down to help clean up the mess. All that chaos is just replaced by this wave of shame and remorse. And that shame turns right into action. First come the mumbled, awkward apologies. Then you see people reaching for their wallets. The hooligans, the other people in the pub who were just laughing along, they all start chipping in. And get this, they don't just pay for the damage. They pay for everything on the tray, and then some. They basically turn what was a total disaster into one of the most successful stops of the night. That hostility just evaporated, just as fast as it appeared. So what's the big takeaway here? What does this wild story really tell us? Because it's obviously about so much more than just a bad night in a pub. Well, it really lays out this powerful truth about people, doesn't it? It shows us just how fragile things are, how quickly a crowd can turn into a mob.
But, and this is the important part, it also shows that a single voice, a single act of courage, can take that mob apart, not by fighting them, but by appealing to the decent person that's still somewhere inside.
I mean, just think about the two different endings here. Without her, the story ends in fear and loss. Simple as that. But with her, the story ends with a pocket full of money, a huge dose of gratitude, and this incredible reminder that sometimes you can find the better angels of our nature in the last place you'd ever think to look.
And that really leaves us with something to chew on, doesn't it? It makes you think. We've all seen those moments, big or small, where one person decided to speak up when everyone else was silent, and it changed the entire situation. It's just a powerful, powerful reminder of the difference one person can actually make.